The music was too loud, the room too crowded, but I saw everything. Jessica, my wife, no, scratch that. Jessica, the stranger I had apparently been living with, was wrapped around some guy like she'd forgotten I existed. Her fingers curled in his hair, his hands pressing into her waist. Their lips locked together like they were the only two people in the room. A slow, creeping coldness spread through my chest. It didn't feel real. My brain refused to process it at first, like I had misinterpreted what I was seeing. But I hadn't. This wasn't a drunken mistake, a moment of bad judgment. There was a familiarity to it, like they had done this before. I could have gone over there. I could have grabbed her, shouted, caused a scene. But something inside me snapped in a different way. I turned around and walked straight out of that house, shoving past laughing guests and the sickly smell of expensive perfume. The night air hit me like a slap, but it wasn't enough to clear my head. My body was moving faster than my thoughts, my feet pounding the pavement as I left everything behind. Jessica, the party, the life I thought I had. I didn't stop until I reached home. The house felt different, colder, hollow. I sat down in the dark, staring at nothing, my mind playing back what I had just witnessed on an endless loop. Every little detail burned into my memory. The way her fingers clutched his shirt, the tilt of her head, the way she smiled after, like she had forgotten me. I checked my phone. No messages, no missed calls, nothing. Jessica didn't even care that I had seen her. The thought made something ugly twist in my stomach. Hours passed. I didn't sleep. And then, at sunrise, there was a knock at the door. I already knew who it was before I opened it. Jessica stood there, makeup smeared, eyes red, face streaked with tears. She looked like she had been crying for hours. She wanted to look like she had been crying for hours. "Please," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Please, just let me explain." Explain what? That she had thrown away our entire marriage for some random guy at a party? That she hadn't even had the decency to pretend to feel guilty last night? I didn't say a word. I just stared at her. And then she dropped to her knees. She clutched my leg, sobbing like her life depended on it. I was drunk. It didn't mean anything. "Please, you have to believe me." Drunk. That was her excuse? She hadn't looked drunk when she was kissing him. She hadn't looked drunk when she had wrapped herself around him like I never existed. Something inside me boiled over. I yanked my leg away, stepping back like her touch was poison. "Get up," I said, my voice sharp, emotionless. Jessica flinched like I had struck her, but she stayed on the ground, her hands shaking. "I love you," she choked out. "It was a mistake. A stupid, horrible mistake. Please, just let me fix this." I laughed, actually laughed. "Fix this," I repeated. "Jessica, you didn't even care that I saw you last night. You didn't run after me. You didn't even text me. And now, suddenly, you're crying at my door? Do you think I'm stupid?" Her breath hitched. She hesitated. And in that hesitation, I saw it. The gears turning in her head. The calculation. The realization that her tears weren't working. That her act wasn't landing the way she wanted. She was only here because she had no other option. I felt sick. Jessica's sobs slowed. She wiped her face with trembling fingers, her eyes darting up to mine. And then, just for a second, I saw it. The tiniest flicker of annoyance behind her tears. Like she was frustrated that I wasn't breaking down. That I wasn't forgiving her immediately. My blood ran cold. She wasn't crying because she regretted it. She was crying because she had gotten caught. I stared at her. Really stared. And for the first time in our marriage, I saw Jessica for what she truly was. A liar. A manipulator. A woman who only cried when it benefited her. She was still kneeling on the doorstep, still shaking, still playing the part of the devastated wife. But now that I was paying attention, I could see the cracks in her performance. The way her tears had stopped flowing but her voice still trembled. The way her fingers clenched the fabric of her dress just a little too hard. Like she was making sure she looked desperate enough. She wasn't sorry. She was calculating. I took a step back, crossing my arms. "Get up." Jessica hesitated. Her lips parted like she wanted to argue. But something in my face must have told her it wouldn't work. Slowly, she pushed herself off the ground, wobbling on her feet. She started, but I cut her off. "Who is he?" Her mouth snapped shut. For the briefest moment, pure panic flashed across her face before she smothered it. That second of hesitation told me everything. She knew exactly who I was talking about. And that meant this wasn't some random, drunken mistake. Jessica shook her head quickly, eyes wide. It doesn't matter. He doesn't matter. I swear. I was drunk. It meant nothing. You weren't drunk. My voice was cold, steady. You knew exactly what you were doing. Jessica inhaled sharply, like I had slapped her. Say his name. She blinked. What? I stepped forward, lowering my voice. If it was nothing, if it meant nothing, then say his name. Jessica's hands clenched into fists at her sides. It doesn't. Say his name. My voice rose, sharp and cutting. Her entire body tensed. Her breathing turned shallow. For the first time since she knocked on my door, she wasn't crying. She was cornered. I watched her fight with herself, her brain scrambling for a way out. A new excuse, a new lie. And then, just when I thought she might actually tell the truth, Jessica did what she did best. She flipped the script. Her face twisted. Her tears returned. And suddenly she was the victim. Why are you doing this? She whispered, her voice breaking. Why are you trying to hurt me like this? I already said I was sorry. I came here to beg for your forgiveness. And all you want to do is punish me. I laughed. A short, sharp, humorless sound. Punish you? Jessica sniffled, wiping her tears dramatically. I made a mistake. I'm only human. And you're acting like you've never messed up before. My stomach turned. She wasn't even denying it anymore, just trying to twist it, trying to make me feel guilty for being angry. And for a second, a tiny, fleeting second, I felt the pull. The old instinct to fix things, to comfort her, to take some of the blame just to make it easier. But then I remembered her lips on him, her hands in his hair, the way she had smiled after. I let the silence stretch between us, watching her squirm. Go home, Jessica. She froze. What? I stepped back, gripping the edge of the door. Go home. She let out a breathless laugh, like she couldn't believe what she was hearing. You're seriously just going to throw everything away? Just like that? I stared at her. I'm not the one who threw everything away. Jessica's face darkened. The tears were still there, but her mask had slipped. She wasn't sobbing anymore. She was furious. I saw it then. The real Jessica. The one she usually hid behind soft smiles and sweet words. The one who expected to win every argument. Fine, she spat, her voice sharp. You want to act like I'm the villain here? Like you've been a perfect husband. She let out a bitter laugh. Maybe if you actually paid attention to me, I wouldn't have needed to. I slammed the door in her face. Her words cut off instantly. For a few seconds, there was silence. And then, bam, bam, bam. She pounded her fist against the wood. Open the door, she screamed. You don't get to just... I turned away. Her voice faded as I walked down the hallway, her screams muffled by the walls. And for the first time in years, I felt something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Relief. The pounding on the door didn't stop. Jessica wasn't crying anymore. She was furious. You are not ignoring me, she screamed. Open this door right now. I didn't. I stood in the hallway, breathing slow, letting the moment settle inside me, letting the weight of it sink into my bones. This was the first time I had ever truly shut her out. No explanations, no arguments, no trying to reason with her. And she couldn't stand it. The knocking turned violent, her fists slamming against the wood like she wanted to break it down. You are such a coward, running away instead of facing things like a man. You think slamming the door in my face makes you strong. You think you're better than me. I exhaled. Slow, steady. Jessica was unraveling. I always knew she had a mean streak. But this was new. This was raw, ugly, desperate. The truth was finally out, and she had nowhere to hide. For years, I had excused little things. The manipulation disguised as teasing. The way she always knew how to twist an argument, so I ended up apologizing, even when I wasn't the one in the wrong. The way she needed to be the center of attention, no matter the cost. Now, without her usual tricks, without a way to talk her way out of this, she was showing her real face. I glanced at my phone. A part of me wondered if I should call someone, her sister maybe or one of her friends, to come get her. But then, as if she could sense my hesitation, Jessica suddenly stopped. Silence. I frowned. And then, in a voice so sickly sweet it sent a chill down my spine, she said, "You know, if you don't open this door, I might just have to tell people why this marriage really fell apart." I froze. Jessica sniffled dramatically. "I mean, I wouldn't want to, obviously, but you know how people talk. They love a good story. And if I told them how cold you've been to me lately, how neglected I felt, how I was so lonely." I whipped the door open. Jessica barely had time to step back before I was in front of her. Eyes locked onto hers. She smirked, like she had just won a round in a game I never agreed to play. "That's what I thought," she whispered. My hands curled into fists at my sides. "You're threatening me?" My voice was quiet, dangerous. Jessica pouted. "Threatening? No, baby. I'm just warning you." I laughed. Actually laughed. A cold, humorless sound. Jessica blinked. The smirk faltered. I leaned in, lowering my voice. "Tell them whatever the hell you want. Paint yourself as the victim. Spin your little stories. But we both know the truth, Jessica. And so do the people at that party." Her jaw tightened. I took another step forward, and for the first time since this started, she was the one backing away. "You think I care what your friends think of me?" I continued, my voice calm, measured. "You think I give a damn about whatever pity party version of the story you come up with? Go ahead. Tell them. See if it fixes the fact that you threw away our marriage for some guy whose name you won't even say." Jessica's lips parted, but no words came out. "You're not crying because you lost me," I said, tilting my head. "You're crying because you lost control." The mask shattered. Jessica's face twisted with pure, unfiltered rage. And then, without warning, she slapped me. The sound cracked through the air, sharp and shocking. My face stung, but I barely felt it. Because Jessica, she looked terrified. Not of me, no, never of me, but of what she had just done. She had lost control again. And now she knew it was over. I stared at her, breathing slow, waiting for whatever pathetic excuse she'd try to throw at me next. But this time there was nothing. Jessica took a shaky step back. Then another. Then, without a word, she turned and walked away. And I let her go. Jessica was gone. I stood there, my face still stinging from her slap, listening to the fading sound of her footsteps. No more screaming. No more crocodile tears. No more manipulative little threats. Just the cold, empty silence of my house. Felt good. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't tangled in one of her games. I wasn't stuck in another pointless argument where she twisted my words and made me feel like the villain. I wasn't scrambling to fix something she had broken. I was free. Or at least I should have been. But instead of feeling relief, something kept gnawing at me. A slow, creeping unease slithering up my spine. Because something about this didn't feel finished. Jessica didn't lose. Not like this. She was calculating, always 5 steps ahead. The kind of person who never accepted defeat, who would rather burn everything down than walk away empty-handed. And she had just stormed off without a final word? Without one last parting shot? No, she was up to something. I locked the door, exhaling slowly, forcing my hands to stop shaking. It was over. It had to be over. I wasn't going to let her live rent-free in my head any longer. I needed a distraction. So I did the most normal thing I could think of. I made coffee. I moved on autopilot, filling the machine, setting it to brew, trying to push every thought of Jessica out of my head. But as I stood there, staring at the slow drip of the coffee, my phone buzzed on the counter. I grabbed it without thinking. Unknown number. I frowned. I almost let it go to voicemail, but some gut instinct made me answer. "Hello?" For a second, there was only silence. Then a deep male voice, his voice spoke. "You made a mistake." My breath caught in my throat. The guy from the party. Jessica's guy. I gripped the phone tighter. "Excuse me?" A chuckle. Low, amused, mocking. "You really thought you could just walk away from this? That she'd let you?" I didn't reply. My heartbeat was thundering in my ears. The voice continued, calm, casual. "See, Jessica and I, We have history. And you? You're just the guy she settled for when she got bored. I swallowed hard, forcing myself to stay calm. Who the hell are you? A pause. Then, another chuckle. You'll find out soon enough. The line went dead. I stared at the phone, my fingers gripping it so tightly I thought it might crack. My whole body felt like it was buzzing. Anger, confusion, something close to fear. Jessica had left without a fight. Because she had already planned her next move, I stood frozen, gripping my phone so hard my fingers went numb. The call replayed in my mind, over and over, like a bad dream I couldn't wake up from. You made a mistake. Jessica and we have history. You'll find out soon enough. I had spent years with Jessica, slept beside her, built a life with her, and somehow I had never known about this guy, never even suspected she had history with someone else. How long had I been the idiot in this relationship? I forced myself to breathe, to stay calm, but my blood was boiling. I wanted to call Jessica, to demand answers, to go back in time and never set foot in that damn party. But no, I wasn't going to let her pull me into another game. If she wanted to play dirty, she'd have to do it without me. I threw my phone on the counter and downed my coffee in one burning gulp. I needed to get out of this house before I lost my mind. I grabbed my keys, stepped outside, and stopped dead. Jessica was sitting in her car across the street. Not parked like she was about to leave. Not moving. Just sitting there, staring straight ahead, hands gripping the wheel like she was waiting for something. Or someone. A chill crawled up my spine. She hadn't left after all. She was watching me. I took a slow step forward, half expecting her to speed off, but she didn't move, didn't react. Just sat there, completely still, eyes locked on something I couldn't see. I walked toward her, my heartbeat picking up. Jessica. No response. I knocked on the driver's side window. Jessica. What the hell are you doing? Finally, she turned her head toward me, and she smiled. Not a soft, regretful smile. Not an apologetic one. A slow, lazy, knowing smile, like she was winning. Something was very, very wrong. Before I could say anything else, she rolled down the window, and then, in the same sickly sweet voice she had used at my doorstep, she whispered, "You should be careful who you trust, baby." Then she put the car in reverse and peeled out, tires screeching against the pavement. I stood there, watching her disappear down the street, my mind spinning. Be careful who I trust? What the hell was that supposed to mean? I stood there long after Jessica's car disappeared, my mind racing. You should be careful who you trust, baby. What the hell did that mean? What kind of game was she playing now? Was she warning me? Threatening me? Messing with my head just for fun? I should have walked away. I should have ignored it, blocked her number, moved on. But no, Jessica never made things that easy. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to think. The phone call. The guy at the party. Jessica's smug little smile. There was something bigger going on, and I was about to find out what. I turned on my heel, heading straight back inside. I needed answers. Step 1. Find out who the hell the guy was. I grabbed my phone off the counter and scrolled through my contacts. I wasn't close with many of Jessica's friends. She had made sure of that over the years, keeping her social life separate from mine, but I knew someone who might talk. Mia, one of Jessica's oldest friends. She was at the party. She saw what happened, and unlike the rest of Jessica's fake, shallow circle, Mia had always been different, less polished, more blunt. She never liked me much, but she never liked Jessica much either. I hit call before I could second-guess myself. 2 rings. 3. Then, why the hell are you calling me? No hello. No fake pleasantries. Just pure attitude. Classic Mia. I exhaled. I need information. A pause. Then, a low chuckle. Wow. Straight to business. Huh? Alright. Let me guess. Jessica's finally showing her true colors, and now you want me to spill. I gritted my teeth. Something like that. Another pause. Then a sigh. Look, man. I don't like you, but I hate Jessica more. So, what do you want to know? I didn't hesitate. The guy from the party. Who is he? Silence. A long, uncomfortable silence. Then, **T, Mia muttered. She didn't tell you? Cold knot formed in my stomach. Tell me what? More silence. Then, Mia inhaled sharply, like she was about to say something she really didn't want to say. His name's Ethan. The name meant nothing to me. And, another sigh. And, he's not some random guy, okay? Jessica's been messing around with him for a while. Years, probably. My grip tightened on the phone. Keep talking. Mia hesitated. Then, her voice dropped lower, like she was about to tell me something I wasn't supposed to know. Ethan's not just some fling. He's... A loud bang echoed from outside. I whipped around, my heart slamming against my ribs. Through the front window, I saw a car speeding off down the street. A different one from Jessica's. Black, tinted windows, no plates, and on my driveway, a brick, lying there next to shattered glass. I stepped forward, pulse thundering, and that's when I saw it. The note, scrawled in thick, black ink. Drop it. The line went dead in my ear. I stared at the note, my brain trying to process what I was looking at. Drop it. A single, sharp message written in thick, uneven strokes, like someone had been in a hurry, like they were angry. I took a slow step forward, glass crunching under my shoe. My car window was shattered. The brick lay next to it, a jagged piece of concrete that didn't belong here. Someone wanted me to stop digging. Someone wanted me scared. But now I was just pissed. I grabbed the note, shoving it into my pocket, then looked up and down the street. No sign of the car. No neighbors peeking out their windows. The world was calm, like nothing had happened. But this wasn't random. This was a warning. And there were only two people who had a reason to send it, Jessica or Ethan. I pulled my phone out and called Mia back. She picked up instantly. What the hell just happened? Someone threw a brick through my car window, I said flatly. Mia cursed under her breath. Yeah, that tracks. I clenched my jaw. Talk. Now. She hesitated. Then, finally, she said the words that made my blood run cold. Ethan's not just some guy, okay? He's... connected. Connected how? She exhaled sharply. Jessica never told you about him because she knew you'd freak out. He's not just some affair, dude. He's got money. Power. The kind of guy who doesn't like being messed with. My stomach twisted. What the hell does that mean? Mia's voice lowered. It means you don't want to be on his bad side. Too late for that. I ran a hand through my hair, trying to stay rational. But my pulse was thundering in my ears. And Jessica? What's her play in all this? Mia laughed, but there was no humor in it. Jessica? She thinks she's smart. Thinks she can play both sides. Keep Ethan on a leash while stringing you along. But if he thinks you're a problem? If he thinks you might, I don't know, go to the cops or something? She let the words hang. I understood. This wasn't about cheating anymore. Jessica had wrapped herself up in something dangerous. And now, because I had the audacity to not forgive her, I was caught in it, too. I inhaled sharply, forcing my voice to stay steady. So what do I do? Mia was quiet for a long time. Then, finally, she said, You run. I let out a bitter laugh. Not happening. She groaned. Dude, don't be stupid. You think you're the first guy Ethan's had a problem with? You think you're gonna come out of this in one piece if you keep poking the bear? I didn't answer, because I knew myself. And I wasn't running. Jessica wanted me scared. Ethan wanted me quiet. Screw them both. I was going to end this. I didn't sleep that night. Not because of fear. Not because of the shattered glass outside or the warning note burning a hole in my pocket. But because my blood was boiling. Jessica had thrown away our marriage, lied to my face, and when I refused to play along, she sicked her attack dog on me. She wanted me scared. Wanted me to back down. Wrong move. At sunrise, I had a plan. Step 1, find Jessica. Step 2, make her talk. Step 3, end this. I grabbed my keys and drove. Straight to the only place I knew she'd be. Her sister's house. Jessica was predictable. She thrived on drama. But when things got messy, she always ran to her older sister, Lauren. Probably to cry, spin the story, make herself the victim before I could even speak. I pulled up to the house, parked, and barely had my feet on the pavement before the front door swung open. And there she was. Jessica stood in the doorway in an oversized sweater, her hair a mess, like she had been waiting for me. A slow smile spread across her lips. "Well, well," she said, crossing her arms. "Did you miss me already?" My hands curled into fists, but I forced my voice to stay calm. "We need to talk." Jessica tilted her head. "About?" I took a slow step forward. "Ethan." Her smile flickered, just for a second, just long enough for me to see it, the flash of panic before she buried it. She rolled her eyes, leaning against the doorframe. "Oh, please, is this your new obsession? Because I thought we already—" "Someone threw a brick through my window, Jessica." Her expression didn't change, but I saw it. The slight shift in her stance, the way her fingers twitched like she wanted to claw at something. "Good." I kept going. "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" My voice was quiet, sharp. "That's why you told me to be careful who I trust. You set me up." Jessica sighed dramatically, like this was boring her. "You're being paranoid. Ethan's not a bad guy." I laughed. "Right? Because not bad guys usually send death threats." She pressed her lips together, eyes flicking toward the street behind me, checking if anyone was watching. For the first time, she was nervous. I took another step forward, lowering my voice. "How long, Jessica?" She blinked. "How long what?" I leaned in. "How long have you been screwing him behind my back?" Her breath hitched, just a little, but I caught it. Then, just like always, Jessica flipped the script. She laughed, tossing her hair over her shoulder. "Oh my God. You're so dramatic. No apology. No guilt. Nothing." I clenched my jaw. "You sent him after me." She pouted. "I warned you, baby." Something inside me snapped. "You think this is a game?" I hissed. "You think I'm just gonna sit back while your thug boyfriend tries to scare me?" Jessica didn't move, didn't speak, just watched me. And then, in the softest, most sickly sweet voice I had ever heard, she whispered, "You really don't know who you're dealing with, do you?" The hairs on my arms stood up. Jessica wasn't scared, because she knew something I didn't. And that's when it hit me. I was in more danger than I thought. That Jessica's words settled into my bones like ice. "You really don't know who you're dealing with, do you?" She wasn't bluffing. I could see it in the way she held herself, the way she didn't beg anymore, didn't pretend to be the heartbroken wife trying to fix things. She was calm, like she already knew how this story ended, like I was the only one still playing catch-up. I took a slow step back, my pulse hammering. "What did you do, Jessica?" She smirked. "You'll find out." Enough. I turned on my heel, heading back to my car. If she wasn't going to talk, I wasn't wasting another second on her. I had other ways to get answers. "Leaving already?" she called after me. "That's probably smart." I ignored her, yanking open my car door and getting inside. But before I could start the engine, my phone buzzed. Unknown number. I knew who it was before I even answered. I put the phone to my ear, heart pounding. "What?" A low chuckle. "Ethan." Now, he murmured. "Is that any way to say hello?" I clenched my jaw. "You're wasting your time. If you think I'm scared of you, you're wrong." Another chuckle. "Oh, I don't need you to be scared." A pause. "I just need you to listen." I gritted my teeth, gripping the steering wheel. "Then talk." Ethan sighed, like this was just business for him. "See, I was willing to let you go. Really, I was. Jessica made her choice, and you were supposed to be done." I stayed silent. "But then," he continued, "you started digging, calling people, asking questions." His voice darkened. "And that's a problem." I forced a breath through my nose. "So what, you send a couple of goons to scare me? Break my window? You think that's enough to make me walk away?" Ethan chuckled again, soft and amused. "No, see, that was just a reminder. A little tap on the shoulder." I swallowed hard. "And if I don't listen?" The smile in his voice disappeared. "Then, my friend," Ethan said slowly, "we make it personal." I froze. Something in his tone, calm, smooth, confident, sent a chill down my spine. This wasn't a threat. It was a promise. "Don't make me do that," Ethan murmured. "Just walk away. Be smart." The line went dead. I lowered the phone, my breath coming in short, sharp bursts. This wasn't just about Jessica anymore. This was about power, control. And Ethan? He was about to find out that I wasn't the kind of guy who just walked away that I didn't go home. Not because I was scared, because I needed a plan. Ethan thought he could control me, just like he controlled Jessica. He thought he could make a phone call, crack my car window, throw out a few threats, and I'd just roll over. Wrong. I wasn't playing defense anymore. I drove aimlessly at first, trying to calm the storm inside me. My hands tightened around the wheel, my pulse hammering. I had spent years thinking I knew Jessica, trusting her, building a life with her, only to find out I was just a side piece in her twisted little world. But now, I finally saw the truth. Jessica wasn't just some cheating wife. She was a player in something much bigger. And she wasn't afraid because she had Ethan backing her up. Because she knew that when things got ugly, I was the one who'd lose. Unless I changed the rules. I pulled into a dark, empty parking lot, my mind racing. I had one person left to call. The one person who might know how to handle people like Ethan. Mia. I hit dial. She picked up on the second ring. "Oh, hell no," she said immediately. "You're calling me again? That means you did something stupid." I exhaled sharply. Ethan called me. Mia cursed under her breath. Of course he did. He told me to walk away. My voice was cold. Or he'd make it personal. Silence. Then Mia sighed. "Yeah, that sounds like him." I clenched my jaw. "Tell me everything. Now." She hesitated. "Look, I already told you he's connected. He's not just some rich jerk with an ego. He has people. He makes problems disappear." My stomach twisted. "Disappear how?" Mia was quiet for a long moment. Then, finally, she said, "A guy Jessica used to date. Before you? He found out she was messing with Ethan and tried to call her out. He got aggressive. Angry." I inhaled sharply. "And?" Mia's voice dropped. "A week later, he got into a car accident. The air left my lungs. My pulse pounded in my ears. It wasn't just cheating. It wasn't just a bad marriage. Jessica was dangerous. And I was next." I forced my voice to stay steady. "Then I guess I need to make the first move." Mia exhaled. "Jesus, you really don't get it, do you? You can't fight Ethan. Watch me." She let out a dry laugh. "Okay, tough guy. What's your plan? You gonna punch him in the face? File a restraining order? Move out of state?" "No." I stared out at the dark parking lot, my mind sharpening. "I'm going to expose him." Mia went dead silent. "Come again." I gripped the wheel. "You said Ethan's powerful, right? Rich? Connected? Obviously. Then he has something to lose." Mia inhaled sharply. "OSH*T. I nodded to myself, heart pounding. I'm gonna find out exactly what that is. For the first time in this whole damn mess, I felt clear. Jessica and Ethan thought they could scare me into silence. Thought they could make me disappear like the others. But I wasn't running. I was finishing this.